I'm on my knees in a pile of shattered glass with my hands locked behind my head and my eyes squinting forward trying to see the cop walking towards me. He grabs me under the armpit and jerks me up so I stand so that he can handcuff me. He pulls me over to the curb where there are a few other stragglers from inside the house that are also handcuffed, and I try to tell him, hey, this isn't what it—
You shut up and you sit down, kid.
So now I'm on the curb with everyone else, and everywhere I look there are floodlights from cop cars. I look over my shoulder behind me, and in front of the house I see house arrest Ryan trying to smooth talk his way out of the situation with cop number 2. Cop number 2 is not having it, and she looks pissed. Obviously, since they got multiple reports of fighting in the streets, shots fired, and attempted stabbings, all from the same house, Ryan's house. And just to make it abundantly obvious again, he has an ankle bracelet on because he is under house arrest. So I look back in front of me and Jeffrey is now in the backseat of a cop car. His clutch bag is sitting on top of the trunk of that car, and 2 different cops are standing over the bag wearing gloves. One of them reaches in the bag and fishes around until he finds the only item that's in there, the meat cleaver. He drags it out very slowly from the handle, and when the massive blade becomes visible, both cops look at each other completely and totally bewildered. I look back over my shoulder and the situation with Ryan has completely 180'd. I have no idea how, but somehow he has the cop laughing, and Ryan is laughing too. I think I'm the only one that notices this because everyone else is handcuffed on the curb with me, and most of them look petrified. One girl on the end of the line is crying and shaking. So we stay out there on the curb for more than an hour before I feel a cop unlocking my handcuffs from behind my back. And when I look behind me, Ryan is standing behind the cop and puts a finger to his mouth with a shh motion. The cop unlocks us all without even saying a single word, and then they all drive away. I ask Ryan, what did you say to make them go?
Yeah, I worked it out. Don't worry about it.
Is everything okay with the house arrest situation?
Yeah, everything is cool. Don't worry about it.
So I did end up missing school the next day because the windows were busted out of Cody's truck and we couldn't drive on the freeway. The next day at Ryan's house when we were cleaning all the debris, Ryan says,
"See y'all ready for this tour or what?"
So if you remember, the entire point of doing this whole back and forth thing was to set up and practice for this tour. Even though I had been in the punk band for a very long time, Ryan's band, the metal band, had never even played a show together. And because Ryan was popular on the internet at the time, he took it upon himself to book the entire tour, which we had never let anyone else book for us back then. And in some weird way, part of the reason why I was fine with Ryan taking over with the booking was because of how he handled the aftermath of the shooting. But it turns out those two things have nothing to do with each other, and we would all deeply regret that decision. So before the tour happened with the punk band and the metal band in the same van, the punk band did a few shows leading up to that. The pre-tour shows started off strong. We booked these shows ourselves, and the very first one was at Jerry's Pizza in Bakersfield. We played a great show with some great, mostly hardcore bands, and there was a lot of people that came to see us. There were plenty of people singing along to our songs, stage dives, high fives, and the best part was being able to eat that pizza. The show ended, so we started driving out into the desert, and we had some van issues outside of an area called Boron, which is sort of in the middle of the desert, but we didn't quite make it there. In the pitch black of night, because there were no lights out there, we had to pull the van over into the dirt, and there was only one building as far as the eye could see that had a light coming out of it. So we started walking towards the house that had the light, and while we were walking there, off in the distance, a wild dog came running out of the desert straight towards us at full speed. So we turned around and bolted back into the van. And right as we slammed the door shut behind us, we realized there was a whole pack of wild dogs. They were all barking and circling our van, so we tried to just wait it out, but they never left. After about an hour, one of the guys just couldn't hold it anymore, so he actually cranked down the front driver's window and tried to pee out the window. But right as he started doing that, one of the wild dogs was running and jumped into the air to bite him. But that's a story for another day. So let's skip ahead and jump right into the whole point that all of this happened for, which was the tour with both bands, the one that House Arrest Ryan booked. The rest of the punk shows leading up to it went pretty great, but right before the full-on tour, Ryan started feeling a little bit weird because he wasn't very communicative and he wasn't answering basic questions like how much money each show would pay and where we were staying at. It was Justin's van, the singer of the punk band, so he just wanted to make sure the shows would at least cover the cost of the tour, but Ryan said, don't worry about it, just trust him. So finally it kicks off with both bands in the same van, and even though we shared a lot of the same members, it was a weird mix. We got to San Diego, slept on the floor, and the show was horrible. It was at a bar, and since since I wasn't 21, I just had to stand outside of it until it was time to play. And that part was fine because I did that pretty often, but the show was non-existent. We played a show to basically no one because no one even knew that we were playing in town. And they didn't pay us when Ryan said they were going to, which meant that we all had to pay for the expenses and we really did not have money. So we got nothing. They wouldn't even give me a cup of water. Strike one against Ryan. Google Maps says that it takes 5.5 hours to get to Phoenix, so in Justin's old van, it probably took 2 weeks. Van time is kind of like dog years. On the way to Phoenix, morale in the van is pretty low. Ryan's on the phone and he says that that whole situation in San Diego was a fluke and the next show would be totally fine. So we finally get to the show in Phoenix and the building is permanently closed. And this is where things start to crack. We're standing in an empty parking lot arguing. Ryan won't answer the phone and the argument boils down to whether or not we should go home or keep going. Justin, the singer of the punk band who owns the van, wants to go home, and Cody from the metal band wants to keep going despite a 100% failure rate by Ryan. In the middle of all this, Justin says, "Nah, I'm done." And Cody sort of quietly says,
I have 11K in the bank. Anything goes wrong, I can handle it.
Justin says, "I don't believe you." And Cody says,
I have 11K in the bank. Why would we not go if we have that kind of security?
So Justin says, "Okay, you tell everyone what you just told me. Say it loud and clear for everyone to hear, or we're gonna turn around." Cody didn't really want to say it loud, so he kind of just whispered,
No, it's fine. I said I'll do it, I swear.
and Justin tells him, "Then if you're not gonna say it out loud to everybody, we're not gonna go to the next show."
Okay, fine, I'll do it.
So Cody stands up on top of the van where Justin was pointing and tells everyone,
As unbelievable as it may seem, you are looking at someone who has 11K in the bank. I know that's probably more than all of your families combined, but my family isn't poor like yours.
Justin says, okay, so what happens if the van breaks down?
I'll pay for it.
Okay, and what if we get stuck?
I said I'll pay for it.
So after that, Justin threw his hands up and just said, "Okay, let's go." And that is where it begins. This single decision ended up being the most important moment in determining how things would go down. One path would have led to an easy outcome, and the other was a path of misery. Guess which one we went down. After the next video in this series comes out, we're probably going to do some standalone stories. So in between episodes of the long stories, hopefully we'll have a few one-offs or a bunch of one-offs. But we are already working on the next part, and it should be done much sooner than you expect, so subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. If you want some chill music to throw on in the background while you game, you can listen to Easy Mode. It's linked down below, and thank you to Jordan for animating this. If you are an animator yourself and you'd like to work with us on the next one of these videos, shoot me a tweet and let me know. But remember, check out Easy Mode.